Wheels underway. Stamps his authority once again.
My word, this could go wrong.
On the brakes, goodness me, what a launch.
Look at that.
It just all comes down to this. Welcome along, everybody, to your 13th round of your Almost Pro Championship season, the penultimate round of the year. We head to the Lusail International Circuit here in Qatar, and, well, we've got a very good race ahead of us with our champion already decided. So that means that there will be less at stake, so more gambles will be taken. My name is Joseph Black. I'll be taking you through all of the action alongside Kyle Stewart-Woodard.
It's a sad time, you know, we enjoy racing, we enjoy watching this league and the drivers in it, but of course all good things must come to an end at some point, and this felt like the right time. 14 races for these drivers with a week break in the middle. There comes a point where they need to, put their feet up and not worry about jumping on the F1 game week in, week out, but we appreciate their time and their commitment. And of course, none more so than Andrew Chenkovan, who is a four-time drivers champion in ABC, as he was crowned last week out, and he's the first driver to ever do that. So, yeah, exciting times. So as you say, less at stake, but there are a lot of other different championship standings. It's not the word I was going for. To tie up, there's loads of different battles across the field. There's the battle for the second place in the teams. There's a battle for I think it's 9th place in the drivers. Many a battle to be had, and we've got 2 more races to watch those battles play out.
We certainly do, and without further ado, we're going to get down to race day, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get down to the circuit and have a look at Daniel Riley setting the first lap time of the day. What a perfect time to jump over to...
One battle that we're not going to see play out is Andrew Chenkovan, who is going to retire again. So he's got the championship tied up now. He's just here for the bants at this point. He just wants to see what he can do from the back and just have a bit of fun in the meantime. So he has retired. And, I mean, he should start dead last. But as we saw last week out, sometimes people crash or don't get a time in and then end up starting behind him. So we'll see what happens. But, yeah, we expect him to start last. And I won't be surprised if we see another podium for him, if not the win.
Yeah, I didn't realise I'd still muted myself on the Discord. I unmuted myself on the stream, so the stream would have thought, you rudely interrupted me. But no, it wasn't that. I muted myself on Discord, of course. So I was saying that we switched over to perfect time to see the first lap come in, and it was Daniel Riley who went up to the top of the field. He'll be hoping that he can do pretty well today. And, well, he's a pretty big fan of this circuit, as far as I'm aware. He seems to always like the circuits in the Middle East. And, well, don't forget his nearly win it was Abu Dhabi last year, where he led for a significant amount of time. And, well, of course, he knows how to race around that track, and he's going to know how to race around Qatar. And at the moment finds himself in P2, a 10th off Ollie Matthews.
That he does, yes. As you say, he does always go well in the Middle East. He just goes well on street circuits as well. That is, of course, when he's not crashing into other people. But he looks like he could do well here. As you say, only just over a 10th behind Ollie Matthews. So he's got a good chance here. Of course, we've not seen Andrew Cenkovan's time. We don't know what he's going to do. Lucas Seracini, he tends to go well, kind of everywhere at the moment, if we're honest. So I'm sure he will put in a good lap at the moment, and as it currently stands, it's a good start to the lap for Regan. It's a purple in the game. I don't think that's true, but it's a decent beginning of the lap nonetheless. So maybe this will be the race. He finally gets that long-awaited podium that he's been waiting for, and I tell you what, I for one am behind him to do it. So I would love to see that from Regan before the season ends. Of course, we may well see him next season. We will have confirmed which drivers will stay and leave for the next race. We won't know this race as they're still, I was about to say, signing their contracts. That's a bit too trying to add some realism. That's not quite what they're doing. They're filling out form to let us know. But if you were to compare it to real life, it would be waiting for them to sign their contracts as Bertwelly goes around the final corner. Where's he got to stack up this week?
Well, he's at a purple first sector, so it should be somewhere halfway decent for the V-Card man. It will be up to second place. Not too far off the pole position time at the moment set by Ollie Matthews. Now, this is a perfect opportunity for somebody else other than Andrew Chenkovan to find themselves at the top of the field. Of course, he did retire last week. He's going to retire once again here today. And we will see what will happen. Ellen is going to be setting her first lap time on the board. It's around the final corner for Ellen Belink, and it'll be up to the line for the Williams to see what she can do. And it's going to be a 1 minute 21.267 up to the top of the field. Just under 4/10, splitting herself and Ollie Matthews in third place. A good lap to kick off proceedings for herself as Ollie Corlett even sets himself off on his first lap.
Yeah, what a fantastic time from Ellen on 121.2. I won't finish that one. So puts her right at the top. And quite a gap to Ollie Matthews in the end there. So Ollie Matthews actually doesn't feel confident here. I've seen in the driver's chat earlier in the week there's a Ferrari that'll be Shackleton getting out of the way of the kick Sauber of where are we? It looks like it's Connor Woodard. It is Connor Woodard. Yes, so Connor Woodard is on an out lap and we'll start a lap very soon. But yeah, great time. Quite, yes, to say. So Ollie Matthews wasn't feeling very confident about this one. I don't know if we spoke to him before the race, but I saw in the driver's chat channel, he was saying that he doesn't think he's going to do very well. So we'll see. But yeah, Bert Welly also slotted in just behind Ollie Matthews there, so he will be a threat today. So will Daniel Riley, Ethan Shackleton, Owen Baldero, not miles off either.
Yeah, and of course we've got Andrea Chenkvan, who retired from the session, who will be trying to fight his way through the field, and the drivers will be trying to make it a little bit harder than it was last week for himself to jump up the order. Corlett coming around the final corner then, and he will be finishing off his lap with a lap time that will put himself in somewhere higher than 12th place. It will be 8th for Corlett, slowest so far, but not too far off of Regan Harding as well. So they are going to be having a good battle at the back, I am sure. Just having a look at some of the standings that we've got for ourselves. It will be, at the moment, at the top of the field, of course, Ferrari, who will be on 381 points. Aston Martin are going to be about 50 in behind them. Then Racing Bulls 242, and they are officially, unfortunately for everybody involved, they are officially out of championship contention. So they, last race, saw their championship charge come to a close. So it will be the top two fighting it out. And I think Racing Bulls have now officially confirmed third place. But Mercedes and Williams split by 2 points. So that should be a very good fight. And that is certainly one to keep an eye out on throughout the rest of this evening. Having a look then at the drivers' standings. That's the constructors' standings again. So we'll have a look at the drivers' standings in just a moment. I'm just trying to find the right one because I think I've put the wrong graphic up. In fact, that is after. Where am I looking? Yeah, that is correct, isn't it? I think. Just trying to have a look here at that is after race 12 of 14, and just having a look at race 12 of 14 in the drivers. There we go. I've managed to get it up in the end. That took me a while. It will be Andrea Chenkvan, of course, our champion. 260 points for himself. Ollie Matthews in second place, 178. Owen Baldero third, 152. Serosini, 124 in fourth. Alexis Mason, Bert Welly and Ethan Shackleton in a good fight for 5th place. And then Paul Garung, Aaron Petho, Regan Harding rounding out the top 10. It'll be a good fight to see today. I think Aaron Petho and Regan Harding. Nope, I think Paul Garung might be just about too far away. Aaron Petho probably the same. Regan Harding has a 7-point buffer over Daniel Riley, who gained places on Connor Woodard, Matthew Gatches and Brian Moore, as well as Harrison Robinson sitting in 15th place. Ratto, Bullink, Vickle, Stone and Corlett round out the order, and Corlett will be hoping to jump himself off of the bottom of the pack. And very nicely, we have 20 drivers this season who have competed, so we have 20 drivers on that graphic. So it makes for a perfectly even amount, although 21 would have made it even better because Andrea Chenkvan, of course, is our champion and so deserves his own separate part of the graphic.
I am going to ruin it really annoyingly, though, that there's a driver who has actually, I'm not going to say his name just yet because the amount of times we've had drivers join the league and then not ever actually turn up. So a driver who has technically joined the league, but was only going to contest the final race. And then we'll be here for the entire next season. As I say, I won't say his name because there's no point in introducing him and then he just doesn't turn up next week. We'll find out. But that will ruin the graphic, annoyingly.
It'll make it look better, I think.
Oh, actually, I couldn't see it because I think I for some reason can't see what you're showing on stream. But if I remember correctly, there is a spare gap, isn't there? Because Andrea Chenkovan's on his own at the top, isn't he? So, yeah. So there will be a bank gap. So actually, it'll probably make it look a little bit neater. So that will, yeah, that would be, it'd be good to see. But as I see you're fixing that for me, absolutely brilliant. There we go. So What was I saying now? Yes, actually, quickly, just on Ellen, as we mentioned, she is here, obviously, as a reserve. She is filling in for, well, I say filling in, she's not technically filling in. So, a couple of things have happened over the last week. Alexander Vickel has left the league, unfortunately. He's not able to commit the time. You've probably noticed that he hasn't raced quite a few races recently, and he's finally realised that he's not able to actually commit to the league. Aaron Petho, similarly, also isn't able to commit, but may well have some time in the future, hence why he's actually moved to a reserve role rather than staying in the full-time seat. So Ellen is sitting in the Williams today, as that seat, of course, is vacant. And I tell you what, Regan will probably be quite pleased about that, because I believe, if I remember correctly, I could be making this up. I think Williams are battling somebody in the team championship somewhere. I know you did just show the graphic, and I fortunately didn't see it, but I think they are fighting someone somewhere. So I'm sure he'll be pleased to be able to get some extra points, especially if she finishes at the front of the pack where she currently is. Ollie Matthews is a lot closer now. So is Daniel Riley and Paul Garang, and even Bert Welly. So she's not running away with this. She has those 4 drivers in behind who could still nick this. But one thing she does need to do is have a good race. We've seen previously, Ellen has qualified extremely well in the races she has contested so far, but hasn't had a good result to back it up yet.
Yeah, hasn't, unfortunately, for herself. And just to give you a little bit of context, there is 2 points between Mercedes and Williams for, I believe it was 5th place in the constructors' standings. I also do not have it in front of me anymore because it was the graphic that I showed on screen. Now I've put it away, I need to reference it again. That seems to be the way that it always goes. But we are going to be seeing Ollie Matthews back into the pit lane. He's not going to be able to chase down Ellen just about. There's not going to be too much of a difference between the 2 drivers, but there is enough of a difference for Ellen to remain up at the top of the field for the time being. But Ollie Matthews fighting with no drivers' championship pressure now, because we knew it got a little bit too much for little Ollie Matthews last time out, and so I think the pressure being off him will be ultimately a very, very good thing indeed, and he'll be able to express himself as a driver all over again with none of that pressure on his shoulders. So it'll be very, very good indeed to see how Ollie does today in comparison to what he has done over the last few weeks. But as you say, not very confident around this track. But for somebody P2 in the championship, he never particularly seems that confident.
No, it's true. But from one Ollie to another, Ollie called it. The replay cam will show what happened here. I believe what I saw is that he invalidated his lap, got a bit frustrated, decided to aggressively weave the wheel, and that then threw him into a spin, and he went into the wall and damaged his wing. So it was in the 3rd sector, so he wasn't going to be able to start another lap anyway. So he probably was always coming into the pit lane after that. But yeah, not a good end to the lap for Ollie Corlett, especially after putting it into the wall afterwards. So yes, not great. But he has set a time. He is ahead of both Kick Saubers as it currently stands. Although currently, Lucas Serafini is yet to set a lap. And I'm looking on my... so he has been out and he had invalidated. So yeah, it's not great for Lucas Serafini. He's leaving it to the very last minute to get a good lap in, which doesn't seem like the smartest strategy. But I tell you what, if he pulls it off, he's going to look like an absolute hero. So he is at the pit exit now. I believe he has time to do an out lap and then a push lap, and then he can cancel that push lap if he messes it up in the middle sector and have one more go at it. But yeah, leaving it very last minute as Regan retires from the session in the pit lane.
Yeah, so Regan's not going to be able to go on to another lap time. His best time is going to be his 1 minute 22 that puts him in currently 8th place, just over a 10th off of the back of Ethan Shackleton in 7th, who's of course the highest qualifying Ferrari, because Andrew Chengfan has not qualified so far in this race, and he won't be qualifying. He'll be starting from hopefully the back of the grid, and only driver on the 7th row if Lucas Serafini is going to actually be able to set a lap here. And well, hopefully he will get the chance to, but he's left it down to the wire, as you say. He's left it down to the very, very last lap, and I think he's going to do exactly what you mentioned, which is he's going to go late. He's going to maybe go for it this lap. If it doesn't work out, he's going to go for it again next lap. He replied to he spoke to us at 4:19 p.m. today. I read that as AM, which is why I thought it was going to be a bit more dramatic than that. But it was a terrible result, but good pace, good quality, and good strategy. A lot of driver transfer discussions have been had in the last couple of weeks, as he says. And as we said earlier on, he loves driving Qatar, but doesn't feel as though he's necessarily that quick. He wants to be back on the podium again. And he says that APC silly season has begun, which is something that we can detail later on in this race, or maybe into the next one. Ollie Corlett also came to speak to us a little bit later on. He said it was a good performance from himself last time out. He showed some decent pace in areas, unfortunate with the drive-through penalty, but it was a good insight of what his pace can be like. He's done some more practice and he's gone to no assist in the last couple of weeks. So he's been working on that and his pace has been slowly improving. He's feeling okay about today. It's maybe not his best track, but he's excited to see what he can accomplish. And he got his highest finish last week of a P9. He wants to push today and be fighting for anything between that and 5th place. So that's very, very high signs indeed. Bert Welly, the last driver into the interview room, of course, the teammate of the driver out on circuit now, Luca Serafini. He has used a lot of words, as he always does. How's he feeling about the last race? Bad luck. What's changed? Nothing. How is he feeling? Nothing good. What are his expectations? Decent points, good battles. Anything else to add? Hate Qatar. A man of many words, Bert Welly.
Oh, fantastic. You don't expect anything else from Bert Welly, do you? Of course, he's had a couple of incidents throughout this season. Nothing crazy, nothing, he's not had massive life-changing, I say life-changing, but season-changing incidents. That's the word I was going for there. But yeah, it's not been the best from Bert Welly, so he'll be hoping to clean up next season. Of course, he did pretty well last season. He had a win. He came in debut and was absolutely off the ground and was just absolutely rapid as Daniel Riley retires there. So no idea what happened there. We're going to carry on watching the Lucas Serafini as he comes around to settle that. But yeah, he'll be hoping to do better next season, but if he stays with us. And Lucas Serafini will cross the line and he will put him into 3rd with a 1:22.334, not far off pole in the end. So not the pole position he'd be hoping for, but really not that far away. Connor Stewart gets ahead of Ollie Corlett. Ollie Corlett will not go any faster. Ellen does not improve either. Neither does Ethan Shackleton. Who else have we got left? We've got a few drivers left to go, but yeah, we're getting to the end of it now. So the last few cars left to go. Who will finish on the top?
It's looking like an anticlimactic end to our qualifying session. Nobody really improving. Ellen invalidated on her lap, so that's unfortunate because it was looking like it was going to be a pretty decent one. But it doesn't matter anyway because I think she's going to be going on to take this pole position unless Owen Boldero can do anything. Paul Garung not improved by too much. He's improved by a little bit, but not enough to close into Ellen. Owen Boldero needs to find about 7/10 in this final sector, which, as good of a driver as he is, I don't think he's going to find that. He found a 10th and a half. He's up to 7th place to finish off our qualifying session. Ellen at the front, Ollie Matthews in the front row.
That was anticlimactic, wasn't it? There was barely any improvements. I think we only had improvements from Connor Stewart-Woodard and Owen Boldero. But, as you say, your results from the qualifying session are on screen now. And Ellen did take pole.
Yeah, it'll be Ellen. Ellen Berlink on pole position, Ollie Matthews in 2nd place and Lucas Serafini in 3rd, all within a 10th of each other. Ethan Shackleton finds himself in 4th place after a good lap on the final one, and Dan Riley in 5th, just ahead of his teammate Paul Garung. It's a very well matched qualifying session, this one. Owen Boldero in 7th, Bert Welly in 8th, Regan Harding and Connor Stewart-Woodard rounds out the top 10. Ollie Corlett, Brian Moore and Andrew Chenkovan rounds out the field.
Yeah, as you say, it's what, 8 attempts down to 8th position. No, 4 attempts, sorry, down to 8th position. That's quite a good showing, actually, from the drivers. I mean, as you say, very anticlimactic, and I feel a bit bad that, for the stream here, I'm not getting all excited and hyping up the viewers, but there was actually not a lot going on towards the end there. No one really improved. Let's just say Lucas Serafini actually put his first lap in, got him up into 3rd position. So that was a good recovery from Lucas Serafini, but yeah, not a lot of other things happened. Connor Stewart, I did get ahead of Ollie Corlett, so he would be quite pleased about that. Not majorly far off Regan. So yeah, but there's quite a decent gap between Regan and Owen, and a decent gap between Owen and Bert Welly in the end. So yeah, well, I'd say one thing it will throw up though is an exciting race. I'd like to think with Andrew Chenkovan right at the very back of the field, and a few people realistically out of position. And Ethan Shackleton, I tell you what, he's up there. So he's holding the flag for Ferrari. Because let's not forget, Ferrari are still in a team championship battle here. Aston Martin can still take it. So, yeah, an exciting race ahead, I like to think.
Yeah, it'll be incredibly unlikely for Aston Martin to take it. But on the off chance they do, they'll be absolutely over the moon. And, well, Andrew Chenkovan's tried to put them in the best position that he can to make it a decent fight, but Ethan Shackleton has decided to take it into his own hands today, and he's done so with the promises and the flashes of pace that we have seen throughout the previous seasons, and of course he is a veteran and a legend of the Almost Pro Championship. Hasn't quite been able to demonstrate the same pace this year, or this season even, but he's put it into where we would usually have expected him last time out. Don't forget, sprint race winner last season, Ethan Shackleton. So he is certainly a competent driver on his day. He just hasn't had many days this season, and well, he'll be hoping to round off this season with a very good result. He'll be putting himself in the best position possible to do so when he finds himself in the second row of the grid. So not quite the perfect position, but still not too bad. Ellen and Ollie Matthews on the front row, they are with a very, very strong chance of qualifying and finishing off their qualifying with a very good race itself. And the V-Cub in third place, Luca Seracini. Only one lap, but still very good pace.
Yeah, Luca is desperate to get a win. I say desperate. I mean, no, desperate probably is the right word. Why am I correcting myself? He's desperate to get a win. There was a little stat earlier in the driver's channel, and bear with me while I just try and find it, because it's a question that Luca asked in the chat. I then went and did my research and got the answer. And here it is. So, with the current drivers on the grid, Luca, Regan, Connor, Brian, Matthew Gatchis, Ellen, Aria, Ollie, just those. Those drivers are the only drivers to not have a win in APC at all. The current drivers on the grid who have had a win before at some point is Paul Garung. He did season 9 at Azerbaijan. We've got so Owen Baldero. I think we said it was season 9 race. I can't remember what season. No, it was season 9. He didn't race season 9. But Owen Baldero, Ethan Shackleton has multiple wins here. Bert Welly has at least one, and Dan Riley has a few wins as well. So Luca doesn't want to be on the stat of current drivers without a win. So he'll be desperate to try and get that. But Ollie Corlett thinks that his first win in the league is a little way off, and as nice as he is, I don't think he's wrong to say that his pace, he's there, he's good, he's consistent. He can get okay results, but his pace, he struggles to match the pace of the fast guys at the top, fast guys and girls, of course, and he will hopefully continue with APC and continue to grow his skill, and one day we'll be talking about him. As we're going to remember season 10 when he first joined and he was actually fighting at the back. Look at him now winning all the races in season. I'm going to be generous and say season 12.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, he is very, very brave, I think, to go on to no assists. But we saw what that did for Luca Seracini. He might have switched back off of no assists, but it's certainly true that he gained pace, whether it was as a result of that or separately to that. But he's done a very, very good job indeed to be able to do that. And, well, he has improved throughout the course of this campaign. And Ollie Corlett will be hoping for a similar trajectory.
These Aston Martins are just menaces, aren't they? Every single week they do something crazy on the formation lab. Have you seen them running the side-by-side this week? They did this last week. They're holding up the entire pack. Well, not entire pack. Some people are ahead of them. All the cars that are behind them are stuck because they're running side-by-side. They love it. They love a little bit of formation lap shenanigans. Speaking of the Aston Martins, they are both on different tyres. So there are two tyre strategies at play here. It's medium, medium, medium. First, top 3 drivers. It's hard, 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 hard for the next 4. Medium, medium for Regan and Bert, as I believe it's about to appear on screen. It is about to appear on screen. It's hard for Connor Woodard. It's medium for Ollie Corlett. Medium for Brian Moore, and hard for Andrew Chenkovan as he begins his ascent from the back.
Yeah, he's going to try to go from last to first, as he has been able to do on a couple of occasions. But now we wait for the lights to come on at the Losail International Circuit for the penultimate time in this APC season. The lights are on, the drivers are ready, and the action gets underway now. It's a very strong launch on the front row by Ollie Matthews. He's going to lead into the first corner as there goes Andrea Chenkovan sliding off of the circuit. That is not going to help our champion-elect. Into turn number 1 then. It will be the Aston Martin who takes that lead away, and it will be the V-Carb who slots in second, with Ellen dropping all the way down to 3rd place. So not the start she would have wanted, as a couple of moves further back in the order. Paul Garung trying to go around the outside of Ethan Shackleton into turn number 4. Can he do it? He will be able to do it, but he's going to go wide on the exit, so Ethan Shackleton makes his way back through. Burt Welly on the outside line will be trying to go for the move on Paul Garung, trying to make the most of that zone. Boldero runs wide. It's been a dramatic start of the lap, and that's somebody's end plate off. Is that Boldero? Is that another one of the drivers further down the order? Somebody's end plate's dropped off. It's not Boldero. Not quite sure who it is, but what we can tell you is Paul Garung already has a track limit penalty, and Andrew Chenkavan's already caught up to the field.
Is that Boldero will be added to the APC album for Season 10. That'll make a great song. But, as you say, Ollie Matthews is in the lead and Lucas Seracini is in 2nd place. It was not a great start for Ellen Bolink, which is a bit of a surprise given all 3 of the drivers at the front there are all on the same tyres. So it was just a poor start for Ellen, as Ollie Corlett runs entirely off the track there. So no idea what happened there, and he's now behind the poor starting Andrew Chenkavan. That is not an adjective I use about Andrew Chenkavan very often, but what the hell happened off the start there? Looks like the V-Kick Sabres may swap positions. They are going to hold formation, but that was not a great start from Andrew Chenkavan, and I was going to say not what he needs. I mean, it's not what he needs for this race. I mean, given that he's already tied the championship up, he doesn't really need to win anymore. But of course, he wants to end this championship in style by winning the final 2 and really cementing himself as his 4-time world champion that he is. Connor Woodard and Ollie Corlett having a bit of a ding-dong there. No idea how they both ended up so far back and fighting each other. Of course, Connor Woodard is on the hard tyres, medium tyres for Ollie Corlett. You'd expect him to be a bit higher up, but his time will come, I'm sure. But the Daniel Riley, the highest running hard tyre runner, is now more than a second off the back of the top 3.
Yeah, Connor Woodard dropped back, unfortunately, because he was trying to fight back with Andrew Chenkavan. Ollie Corlett tried to keep himself in the battle, and there is going to be front wing damage for Corlett at the back of the field, so we might find him dropping back even further. Track limit penalties will be applied today, and I know there's quite a few drivers that are on 2 warnings, and they may well pick up more as they head through today. The 2 Kick Sauber swapping back as Ollie Matthews sets the fastest lap of the race, and they swap back again, as I'm not quite sure what's happened there, but they're going to try to continue on in formation. Burt Welly through on Ethan Shackleton as well. He jumps into the top 5. He stays in the DRS range of Dan Riley ahead. Dan Riley, though, 2 seconds off the back of the top 3 as a fight begins to brew, and Andrew Chenkavan wants to get himself involved. He gets through on Regan Harding.
Yes, he does. Regan Harding, of course, being one of those drivers with 2 track limit warnings already. And I don't think that's a surprise at this point in the season. He'll probably put that in a YouTube video. But Daniel Riley, 2 seconds off the top 3. So those top 3 are absolutely running away. But it's Burt Welly with the fastest first sector so far. It's the first penalty then has come in. No, it's not the first, it is the second, because I see one for Paul Garung. So penalties are coming in already on lap 3. And don't get me wrong, I understand, because it's such a wide circuit. It's so easy to run off track here. But you don't want to be getting penalties on lap 3. That is not ideal. So we'll see how this continues. I think it's one of the Saubers. It's the Sauber of Connor Woodard, who's on 2. Those are 4 warnings. I don't know. Okay, he must have some warnings for collisions as well. So it gets really confusing on our timing screen. But Owen Boldero not been able to make headway. He's in 8th position with Andrew Chenkavan quickly coming in behind. There's the penalty for Connor Woodard. It was coming. He is struggling on this one. He is the driver that I'm on board with for this race. And he's absolutely struggling. He's on the back of his teammate. But what's going to happen at the front here? Will Lucas Seracini make his way into the lead? Lucas Seracini will make his way into the lead, as it's a second, it's a fastest lap, apologies, for Andrea Chenkavan. Ollie Matthews will hold it round the outside. That will become the inside, and then become the inside then for Lucas Seracini. Ollie Matthews put up a great fight there, but it was not enough to hold Lucas Seracini back. I am going to take my words back immediately as he goes back up the inside. He will look to try and take the position back. It's going to be the inside again for Luca. Ellen is just watching this going, come on boys, sort this out. Andrea Chenkavan is on his way, and sort it out they do, and it's Ollie Matthews who remains ahead.
Yeah, of course, this is the fight on track for the lead of the race, so I don't think at this point they're thinking about Andrei Chenkovan just yet. I think they're just thinking for the spoils of leading the race. And of course, that is going to be very, very important throughout the course of today, who is going to be in the lead and who is going to be in second place, most importantly. Third place doesn't really matter as much as second or first. But it's just about trying to set yourself up in the right position. I think the right position usually tends to be second place. Where you can sit behind, you can use the DRS, you can control the narrative and control the pace. I think that's what the plan is for all of these drivers, but somebody has to be the leader, and so one of them has to take the initiative at the moment. It's going to be Ollie Matthews. I do also think Lucas Aracini will want to fight it out for the race lead on track, because I think there might be a little bit of a confidence loss for Saraceni in that way, as he's to the inside line of the first corner. He picks up that move and he makes his way into the lead, as I say, but I think he feels as though he would quite like to lead this race. Whether it's going to hamper them later on or not, I think he just likes to be in control of the race from the front. I always find that second place helps you keep control of it, but first place, not too bad as well, and also it's fun to lead, and I think that's what Saraceni's thinking at the moment. I don't think he's thinking that far forward just yet.
I don't think it's, in my opinion, I think it's Saraceni who's the one causing the issues here. I think it's Ollie Matthews. So, because, like, obviously I'm far from an expert, far from a league racing expert, but, you know, I've seen quite a lot of league races, whether that be here in APC or in some of the top tier leagues, and one of the things that you find happens a lot is that when drivers are where the position they are now, so they're 1.2 seconds away from Bird. Let's not forget they were 2 seconds ahead of fourth position a little while ago. If they all overtake each other cleanly, so, you know, if when Luca went to come past, Ollie Matthews turned his battery off and recharged, he will then be able to let Luca go. He'll be able to sit in Luca's slipstream and recharge his battery, and then they'll be able to flip and do the same every other lap. And what that means is whoever's ahead has more battery, and they will be able to pull the car behind with them throughout the lap. But what they're doing here is slowing themselves down, and that has brought the pack behind into their DRS range, and that means that they can't run away from that pack. That pack is there now, and it's probably going to be there for quite a while, because once you're in the DRS range, it's hard to drop them again. So that's kind of the kind of thing that I'm referring to there, and I think Luca used a lot of battery by the looks of it to keep Ollie Matthews behind there, which means they're now going to be slower on the remainder of this lap.
There's a lot of way up that goes into league racing. There's a lot more that goes into it mentally than you might think, as somebody who may not league race very often. I know I certainly don't, but I speak to a lot of drivers who do, and this is the general consensus, is that there is a lot more going on than you would be able to think, because you might just go, oh, they're just driving it around in circles. Sometimes they drive it around in circles and they make moves on each other and they dive to the inside or whatever. It's not quite that simple. There's a little bit more intricacy to it that you only really understand when you get into it, and well, that's exactly what these drivers are making the most of right now. It's going to be the intricacies, it's going to be the mind games that they try to play with each other as they head through. Of course, it's not quite as intense as the mind games you might get in real life, but it's a good little taster for anybody who might be wanting to race in real life in the future. And I know that there are some drivers who do some karting. I know there are some drivers who do all sorts of different events. I think Ollie Matthews did the student league a couple of weeks ago for his university, and now they're going to be side by side into the first corner here in Qatar in the Almost Pro Championship, and Lucas Aracini is going to try to squeeze Ollie Matthews very wide here. Ollie Matthews is going to try and pick it up in turn 2, and well, Lucas Aracini is going to have the grip around the outside of the long way and retake the lead of the race.
Yes, he is. So yeah, I think the one thing to consider here, obviously, is Andrei Chenkovan. Once he's in the train, which he is now just on that lap, got past Valdera, which has put him into the train. Once he's in that train, you're not going to drop him unless he makes a mistake. So this was the kind of thing I was referring to. If they worked together and kept the big gap to the train behind, it would have meant that Andrei Chenkovan would have had no way of getting in that train, and the win would have been just between the three of them. But given that they've now invited Andrew into the train, it's going to be a lot harder to drop him out. Obviously, they are on a different tyre strategy here. So the top 4 now are on medium tyres. And then it's hard all the way down to Connor Stewart Woodard. No, down to Brian Moore, apologies. They've swapped positions. So, yeah, it's that will play out a little bit differently as this race goes on. But I tell you what, When's the last time we've seen a train in APC from first all the way down to 9th?
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often, does it, in league racing, in this specific racing, or any other time, really. And, well, we're going to head down towards the first corner with a move for the lead once again. Ollie Matthews baited Lucas Seracini to the inside. Seracini took the bait, and that means that Ollie Matthews gets the better run. But around the outside of turn 2 is exactly where you want to be parking yourself, and that's what Lucas Seracini has used to take the lead. Dan Riley, in the meantime, is fighting with Andrea Chenkovan as much as he can as the lead battle goes on, and it will be side by side, but Ollie Matthews doesn't quite have the overspeed, nor does Andrea Chenkovan have the overspeed on Dan Riley to make that move. And Owen Baldero might be making his way back through here. He's going to give it a go, and he's going to have a look to the inside, but it's not enough of a look. It's not enough of a chance, but it is enough to make Andrea Chenkovan run wide. But Owen Baldero hasn't quite pushed him wide enough, but it's a promising sign.
This is the closest race we've had in a long time, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's almost going to be a shame when the top 4 box and pull themselves out of this, because this is so much fun to watch. I thought Owen Baldero would probably try and do more to hold up Andrew Chenkovan, given his teammate is potentially battling for the win. But I don't think Andrew Chenkovan actually gave him much choice in the end. I think, if I remember correctly, it was a pretty clean overtake. Dan Riley's tyres are a lot worse than Andrew Chenkovan's. It's just come up on the replay cameras, which you would have seen if you were watching post of the live. But yes, it's... I lost my train of thought there. I'm just going to go on to something else, because I was saying something and then I've completely gone blank as I saw the tyre graphic come up. Andrew Chenkovan will go past Dan Riley. That was it. That's reminded me. Andrew Chenkovan did a very easy overtake on Owen Baldero down the pit straight. And I think he was well ahead before the corner, so he had absolutely nothing that he could do. Owen Baldero, I believe, will be trying to go past Dan Riley now, so he'll probably try and follow Andrew Chenkovan through, as Andrew Chenkovan continues his ascendancy through the field, and I don't think his teammate Ethan Shackleton will make it too hard for him.
No, I don't think he will, but Dan Riley is now alongside Owen Baldero. Baldero's to the inside of the next braking zone, and is he going to be able to pick it up? It's now the outside for turn number 7, but he can't quite do it, but he can keep a tyre in, although he's going to go a little bit off the track. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a warning there. Dan Riley is going to succumb the position in the end, although no, he's not. That's the Mercedes behind of Paul Garung. Dan Riley's going to pick up the position. He's going to hold it into the next couple of corners, and he holds on to that position for now, which is very, very good. We've still got that train for the top 9, which is very, very good, but Dan Riley, if he keeps fighting with Owen Baldero, is going to drop pace with the top 6, which now includes Andrea Chenkovan, and I'm sure, as you say, his teammates not going to make it too hard for him. They could seal the Constructors' title today, and Chenkovan and Ethan Shackleton are going to do the best they can to do so. We're going to head on to double figures of laps with Lucas Seracini taking us on to lap number 10. We're third of the way through this one, and what will Andrea Chenkovan do on the back of his teammates into turn number 1? He will make his way through, and Shackleton will brake a little bit just to make it nice and easy.
Yes, he will, yeah. Like, there's no point in them fighting. Andrew Chenkovan is, of course, always the faster driver. You know, Ethan's won't be upset at us saying that. He's always the faster driver. Owen Baldero was not able to get past Dan Riley. I think he probably used quite a lot of battery on that previous lap to try and get ahead in the middle of the lap. And that means he had nothing left, to quote Ian Bill, down the pit straight. Brian Moore will be the first to pull the trigger, and we'll go into the pit lane for his first stop. He is joined... No, I've lied to you. I only call it's already stopped. I completely missed that. I don't know when that happened. Oh, so is Regan. Alright, so I'm completely lying to you. But Brian Moore is the most recent driver to put into the pits, and we'll put on a set of hard tyres. Ethan Shackleton there picks up a penalty. So it's penalties all around from 6th position downwards, except for Brian Moore and Regan. I'm not sure what happened to Regan. I wonder if Regan was the end plate that we saw fly off on the first lap, because he's boxed and he's kind of been nowhere since. In fact, it looks like he's slower than Ollie Corder. He must be AI. I'm going to have a quick look. It doesn't appear to be AI. He looks like it is his car, so no idea why he's so slow at the moment. So hopefully we'll see him come back soon. But Andrea Chenkovan will continue to go up the grid here. And will Lucas Seracini's teammate put up a fight with Andrew Chenkovan? He will. He's actually broke very late there to make it as hard as possible for Andrew. But Andrew went, you do what you need to do, my guy. I'm going to come past no matter what. But the train continues with Owen Baldero very close to Dan Riley. He's looking, his nose is looking, but that is not a place for an overtake. That would be silly to try it there, but he will get past at some point. He will be hoping, as he's right on the back, and Andrea Chenkovan is now also on the back of the podium positions.
Yeah, he certainly is. He's going to be on the back of Ellen and going to be trying to surpass the Williams some point soon. He's going to get himself into a very good position to do so, I think, at the moment. Zoe Baldero still continues his fight on with Dan Riley for 7th place. And don't forget the penalties that will be applied to the drivers post-race. As it stands, it will be 3 seconds for Shackleton, Riley, Baldero, Paul Garang, and for Stuart Woodard as well, with 19 seconds added to Ollie Corlett's time. Corlett's on the back of Brian Moore, and we're trying to make his way through on him, as you've seen something.
Sorry, I shouldn't have made that noise. I saw his Ollie Corlett's penalty count, so that was probably not the right reaction. Apologies. But yeah, Ollie Corlett, yeah, we of course he has the honour, should we say, of being the only driver to ever get disqualified from an APC race, and he'd be hoping to not do that again.
Yes, certainly won't be wanting to do the same thing again, but that's the problem with going no assists. It can be a problem. I think Ellen might be in AI mode here, so I think the Williams is unfortunately going to drop like a stone down the order, although I think as she's come out of the pause menu, has come back into racing, because now has put back up to Andrea Chenkovan. There was over a second's worth of gap between Chenkovan and Matthews. Matthews will be hoping to keep that up, otherwise he will have Chenkovan pressuring very soon.
I don't know if you realise, but the minute you said that, Andrew responded by closing the gap down to 7 tenths. So he's there. He's coming. And if he does all these overtakes before the pit stops even happen, it's going to be hard to even battle him later on. He's just going to run away and do his own thing. But it's really hard to say with the current strategies. With who just stopped there? Sorry, it's Burt Welly. With Burt Welly putting himself out of that train. There's a yellow sector one. That's Ollie Corlett, who has 22 seconds worth of penalties, and is also facing the wrong way, so not ideal. And actually, Ellen's tyres just came up on the replay cameras, and they're not looking good. But that is Ollie Corlett again. So Ollie Corlett's having a good time as it currently stands. But yes, with Burt pulling himself out of the train here, he'd be hoping to pull off a significant undercut if he can make it happen. Luca Serafini also boxing. So as we say, as the Mercedes drivers go side by side there, that was extremely close. That was a Paul Garang hoping to get that position. Ollie Corlett still struggling in the middle sector. He must have a puncture, I'm going to assume. I'm just having a quick look. No, he's got no front wing, is what's happened to Ollie Corlett. So yes, will they put the undercut? And I was saying, Lucas Serafini always tries to go for the overcut, but the last couple of races, he seems to be more on the undercut. And I love that from Lucas Serafini, because I love to see him continuing to stay in the battle. So what's going to happen when all these pit stops play out? It's all a bit of a mess at the moment. I can't really work it all out. All the medium runners have stopped, so it's just the top 5 who are all on hard tyres who are yet to stop.
Yeah, they are at the moment yet to stop. They all, of course, started on the hard compound tyres as well. The only other driver to start on the hard compound tyres that came into the pits was Owen Baldero, who pitted for another set of the hard compound tyres. So he's going to go for a 2-stop strategy. I think the 2-stop strategy is the viable one here today, as Corlett picks up another 10-second time penalty. I think he's going to become the first and second driver to be disqualified from an APC race here today if he's not careful. And at the moment, he's certainly not helping himself. And actually, he's out of the race and out of this, the penultimate race of the campaign. So it's unfortunate for himself, and we will find out why that is in just a few moments time. Maybe he's just struggling with the Qatar circuit, because on no assists, and it is just almost impossible to race here, as into the pit lane comes Paul Garang. And that was an interesting camera angle with Connor Stewart Woodard heading into the first corner. This might be the highest he's run all season in 4th place. He's going to try to make the most of that one, I think, as Garang's going to come out of the pit lane and will be what position? He will be dropping all the way down behind this pack, so the overcut to try and stay ahead of them hasn't worked.
I think give Connor his credit. He led a couple laps somewhere. I can't remember which race it was, but he did it. So yeah, he'll be the first to correct. So I will do that for him. But I tell you what, look at this train. Look at it. This is effectively for the lead where once all of the stops happen. And this is what we like to see. We've not seen a race this close in such a long time. It's so good to see. And I'm kind of grateful for Andrea Chenkovan starting at the back. I think they're probably saying the same thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one's going to play out. Will we get a new winner today? Yeah, Luca Serafini has never won. Ellen has not won here yet. Will we get a new winner? I mean, neither has Brian Moore or Regan Harding, but they're a little further back, so we'll have to see what happens. No idea what's happened to Regan. He is not having a good time here. But the two Ferraris currently lead, and I tell you what, they'd love to finish in this order, but of course they both need to stop. And very interesting on Owen Baldero's tyre strategy. Not quite sure what well, I don't know what he's doing, but whether that's a good strategy or not. He's been known to make mistakes before, putting the wrong tyres on by accident. Could this have been an accident? Not sure. We'll have to wait and find out, because no doubt he will tell us after the race when he gives us his post-race debrief.
We get a lot of drivers into the post-race debrief. We're trying to get more drivers into the pre-race the pre-race brief as well, not the pre-race debrief. But yeah, they are. We're getting an increasing number. I think we had 3 drivers in today, which was quite good. And well, we hope to get more, of course, as the season goes on. Ollie Corlett disappointed with his last race of the season, and well, he'll be hoping that it's not going to be too bad throughout the course of the rest of the race, and then F1 26, or the rest of the race in terms of next week, and then it could be something that he continues on to F1 26 that we're trying to avoid. Of course, he wants to be making sure that he is in a very good position, and well, he will give himself the best chance to do so. And well, it's exciting times, I think, for drivers who appear to have improved, because he's definitely improved pace-wise. It's just unfortunate that he had all those penalties and then, of course, the retirement. We're still seeing 6 drivers in this pack at the moment, although Paul Gorung's just dropping off the back of it with Luca Serafini all the way down to Paul Gorung. You've got Burt Welly, you've got Owen Baldera, and you've got Ollie Matthews as well. Of course, the 2 Aston Martins won't be enjoying the fact that the 2 Ferraris are at the top of the field, won't be enjoying the fact that Owen Baldera has picked up 3 more seconds.
Yeah, not ideal, and I think that's probably a good time to just mention what's needed from these Aston Martin drivers today. So these drivers, the Aston Martins, must outscore Ferrari by at least 16 points to keep themselves in contention to the final race. And I'd say what we'd love to see the team's championship battle go down to the final race. As it currently stands, I mean, yeah, no, they will not be taking it to the final race, but they are, obviously the Ferraris are yet to stop, so we will have to wait and see how this one will end. So they need a good result here. They definitely need a good result. As you say, there's also a battle for 4th in the championship between the Mercedes and the Williams drivers. That will come down probably to whoever finishes ahead if the gap stays this close. As it currently stands, we're very Noah's Ark at the moment. The Ferraris, the RBs and the Astons running 2 by 2. As it currently stands, Mercedes will score more points and will extend their gap. But yeah, it's all to play for still. Many a championship to... I keep saying championship, it's not championship. many championship battles to play out. But as Dan Riley pulls into the pit lane, looks like the hard tyre runners are going to start coming off those white wall tyres.
Yeah, he certainly is. Into the pits comes Dan Riley, out of the pits as well, as we just cut to him being in the pit lane. I think he'll come out just behind this train, which is going to be frustrating, I think, for him. But it's going to be interesting to see all of these teammates working together in this battle. Of course, you've got the 2 V Clubs at the top of it, you've got the 2 Aston Martins in there as well, and now you've got the 2 Mercedes at the back of it. The only driver in this that is unaffiliated, it's going to be Regan Harding, who is not going to be on the back with Ellen right in the mid-pack at the moment. But yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see these teammates. They're clearly very well matched together. All of these teammates, they've clearly been put together by somebody who knows exactly what they're doing in terms of matching the teammates up, because of course Luca Serafini and Burt Welly, pretty similar pace to Owen Baldera and Ollie Matthews on average, and then of course the 2 Mercedes, not always with them, but they can hold a candle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the teams have been really good this season. I've really enjoyed seeing the dynamics. I think it's the first season where we've seen so many actually go into Discord chats and discuss their race strategies and actually throughout the race. But I tell you, which driver will be undertaking this strategy? It's going to be Andrew Chenkovan, who is in the pit lane. I don't know why I'm so stuttery today. He's in the pit lane. He will come off those hard tyres. He will go to medium tyres, and he will use the final 12 laps to try and come back through the field. But I tell you what, I'm just watching this gap now. He is going to be extremely close to this train. In fact, I think he's still in this train. How has Andriy Chenkovan pulled that one off? He's still in a train. I think I'm just looking for the time once they all cross the line there. So it's 1.2 seconds. But he's there. He's there or thereabouts. He's in this train still. And I don't know. No one else other than Andriy Chenkovan would better pull that off. He's completely looked at the undercut and gone, good luck to the lot of you. Because I am staying within this DRS train whether you like it or not. And he has absolutely been able to do that. And here he is. I mean, the battling from the drivers probably hasn't helped. But yeah, I am extremely impressed by that from Andriy Chenkovan. I mean, he impresses me race in, race out. But to keep the hard tyres so consistently fast that he comes out on the same train that he was battling with before they all stopped, that is a fantastic bit of driving. Once again, from the four-time APC champion.
He certainly is. Andriy Chenkovan is, of course, a fantastic driver, as we've come to know throughout the course of all of the seasons, and well, we will see him once again trying to fight for the victory. At the moment, he's going to come around to the final couple of corners and try to put the pressure on Paul Garang as they exit the final one. Connor Stewart-Woodard in the meantime is into the pit lane, as is Ethan Shackleton, so they're both going to drop places, and it's now going to be a VCAR 1-2 very briefly, as well, Andriy Chenkovan is going to try and go for the first corner move. So is Owen Boldero. It's going to be 2 by 2, and Boldero's made his way through. Chenkovan has as well, as they both gained a place, and Chenkovan now looking all over the back of Belink ahead.
Absolutely, Andriy Chenkovan will continue to go up this order, I'm sure. I mean, there's a lot of penalties, one that he doesn't have. And he's going to try around the outside of Elin. That is going to be a fantastic move if he pulled it off. But that was going to be a hard one, even for the likes of Andriy Chenkovan. And he wasn't able to do so. But he is definitely the fastest driver. He's got the fastest tyres on right now. And he'll be hoping to make his way all the way back up to the top. But I tell you what, it's going to be a bit of an ask. Because once he reaches Owen Boldero, there's a big gap to the podium positions ahead. Of course, Burt Wally does have a 3-second penalty, so he will potentially be in that window. Ollie Matthews is currently in a little bit of a patch of his own, so he needs to put the hammer down if he is going to get back into that train. Here he goes from Andriy Chenkovan. He put his nose at the inside there, and Elin cut that one off immediately. So yeah, I think Owen Boldero is, I don't think intentionally holding the pack up, but he's doing a good job of helping his teammate as Dan Riley runs wide on exit there and picks up the penalty for his troubles. Once again, Andriy Chenkovan puts his nose in. Elin goes, absolutely, I don't think so. Dan Riley's now seeing this, and he wants to get past Andriy Chenkovan, but he starts up in a situation with Elin, but Elin's not faster than Andriy Chenkovan, and it's going to be 3 wide going into turn 1, but Dan does the smart thing and pulls out of that one. Elin will break for the corner. We'll have the inside. We'll run Sabazov Chenkin. It's a 3-second time penalty for Andriy Chenkovan. He was pushed wide, but he did put himself in a position, unfortunately, to let that happen. So I don't think he'll be able to get that one removed if he even asks for it to be removed. But this is going to be a tight battle all the way to the end of lap 29.
Neutralises the field now, I think, with only Ollie Matthews and Lucas Seracini surprisingly avoiding a penalty. Looking to the inside goes Andriy Chenkovan. He's able to keep his front tyre alongside Owen Boldero's rear tyre, so is he able to make his way through? Not in the end. Owen Boldero has the overspeed to remain in position for the time being. He is really trying to hold up this pack here so that Ollie Matthews can go ahead and pick up a podium. It's once again good teamwork from the two Aston Martins, and Boldero's almost got that gap up to 4 seconds. Ollie Matthews, in the meantime, is going to try to catch up to the back of the two V-carbs, but it's going to get very, very tight and very tense indeed. Chenkovan looking to the inside, but just backs out. It's overspeed too much for these drivers. What can Boldero do around the final corner to defend, though, with DRS on its way? They will be locked side by side as they exit the final corner, and with the DRS, I think it's going to be a picked up move relatively easily from Andriy Chenkovan. Boldero is going to try to fight back, and he moves very far to the inside to allow Ellen Belink through. But in the end, Belink's not going to be able to make her way through that easily. Boldero's still going to fight back, but in the end, Belink, there's only so much that Boldero can do on those older tyres. Belink makes her way through, and well, Andriy Chenkovan, that gap between himself and Ollie Matthews went up to 3.9. It's now down to 3.5 already.
How does he close half a second in a sector? I don't know how this guy does it. I really don't know how this guy does it. One thing to consider here is that Ollie Matthews isn't in the DRS range of the RBs. So of course he's very much vulnerable to Andriy Chenkovan here. So yeah, he needs to get himself into that pack if he's going to make this one work. Although it looks like Lucas Saraceni is also about to drop his teammate. So he has dropped his teammate. Will his teammate be able to get back in? He might back out to give his teammate DRS, which I don't think would be the smart play as it currently stands. Because Andriy Chenkovan has just taken a second out of the Aston Martin of Ollie Matthews. So I'm not saying Luca did that backed off on purpose to give his teammate DRS because Bert may have just well have been quicker. But if that is what he's done, this is not the time for him to do it because he is going to allow the likes of Ollie Matthews, who is now back in the DRS range as well, and then by proxy, Andriy Chenkovan will all get in the DRS of Lucas Saraceni, and that will ruin his chances of taking his first win here. So he needs to be a little bit selfish now, I think. He needs to go on his own and do what he can to secure this win if he's going to have any chance of getting a win this season.
Yeah, he's going to try to. At the moment, the difference now between Matthews and Chenkovan, 1.8 seconds. Matthews has almost caught up to the DRS of Bert Welly, right ahead as Connor Stewart-Woodard is through on the pitting Owen Boldero, who unfortunately has not been able to make his way to the end of the race on the tyres that he was on because, of course, he has to pit one more time for that set of mediums, which he's done so in the end because he did 2 stints on a set of the hard compound tyres. Only 11 laps and then 10 laps on those hards, and he's surely going to come into the interview room and tell us all about how it's the fault of the controller that he has and not the wheel that he could buy. 7 tenths between the top two at the moment, and another 7 tenths between Bert Welly and Ollie Matthews in second and third place. And speaking of wheels to buy, expect an improvement from Brian Moore next year because he is going to be getting my wheel for the next season of the Almost Pro Championship. Let's hope that it can be a sign of improvement, as that's a 3-second time penalty for Lucas Saraceni.
Why? I'm so upset to see this. This guy, he's worked so hard and deserves his first win. And I think there's only one way now this guy is going to take his first win. And that is if his teammate plays the team game and backs up the pack. He does an Owen Boldero and does what he did previously. That is the only chance that he has here. I just don't know if he'll do it. I believe they are in a Discord channel together. I'm just going to quickly go and confirm that. They are in... They're not. So normally they're in the Racing Balls Discord, Team Radio Discord channel. But they are not today. So this is all going to go down to whether Bert is just going to take it upon himself to just slow everyone down in this sector. And I tell you what, I don't know if this is just Bert suddenly losing pace, or if Bert has had the same thought as me, but all of a sudden, he is 2 seconds behind his teammate. So he needs to do everything. He needs to go slow as possible through this section here. Build that gap up to about 4 seconds. He's got worse tyres than Lucas Saraceni, as I'm seeing on the replay cams. And then he needs to use every single bit of his battery down the pit straight to remain ahead of the fast-running Ollie Matthews and Andriy Chenkovan, and hope that he can stay ahead and do that all over again. But this, I fear, is the only thing that is going to give Lucas Saraceni the lead today.
Yeah, it is at the moment. I think the only thing that Lucas Saraceni can do to win as Bert Welly defends to the inside line of Ollie Matthews. Is he going to be able to hold on? His tyres are pretty much the same as the Aston Martins, and there's a bit of contact between the two. Bert tries to sweep around the outside. This is the ideal line I was talking about earlier on, and the V-Carb tries to hold on to it, but in the end, Ollie Matthews has actually got the position. He sets his sights on Lucas Saraceni. His teammate's doing all he can to make sure that Saraceni keeps that win. Bert Welly trying to defend like a lion to the inside line. And this is, I think, attacking being the best form of defence. The outside line into the next corner, and there's contact. Matthews and Welly both off. And Andriy Chenkovan, in the meantime, has made his way through. But Welly tried to defend like a lion. And in the end, I think there was a little bit too much in terms of the way of fighting between the two.
I think Bert wanted to do everything he could and really needed to get back past. I think he realised that he'd actually messed up. Not messed up, but he had let Ollie Matthews through a little too easily, even though he was trying his hardest. I mean, it came down to pace in the end and tyre life and just pure, determination from Ollie Matthews. Ollie Matthews was the bigger threat out of him and Andriy Chenkovan. Ollie Matthews was the bigger threat of the two. because he doesn't have a penalty. He's the only person here that doesn't have a penalty. So he was desperate to get back past and do everything he can to hold him up. Fortunately, I think that just ended up being, they came together in the end. It just didn't quite work out, unfortunately, on this occasion. But he's now falling down the order, so I assume he probably has quite a bit of damage after that, and there's a penalty for his trouble. So, unfortunate for Bertwelly. What he probably needed to do was hold him up a lot more on the lap before to really build that gap out. But like, he tried to play the team game. And looking at the current pace of Andrew Chenkovan, it probably isn't going to be enough.
No, I really don't think it is. I don't think it is, unfortunately, unless Andrei Chenkovan picks up another time penalty, which I don't think he will. And, well, I'm just trying to have a look as well to see what Seracini has. He has 4 warnings, so he has only 2 more. The second one would see him dropping down with another 3-second time penalty. 4 laps to go then, and this is probably the closest that somebody's been able to give Chenkovan a fight all season. The DRS will be available for Andrei Chenkovan as he heads out of the final corner and towards turn number 1. So is it going to be the inevitable 95 making his way through, or is it going to be the rookie chasing through? Luca Seracini, that is, of course, at the top of the field, and tried to make a Cars reference that didn't end up working out. It's the I'm trying to think. It was the champ, the rookie, and the runner-up, as far as I see it. And I think in this context we could say that Chenkovan is the champ, Shackleton's the runner-up, and Luca Seracini very much proving the rookie role of Lightning McQueen at the moment, trying to defend against the 95.
Ka-chow indeed. But one thing I will say so far is that it looks like Ferrari are going to take the championship today if it stays as it is. Obviously, bearing in mind Ollie Matthews, I know he is 3 seconds behind Andrew Chenkovan. So yeah, I think they are going to take it today by the looks of it. And that is some good going from the Ferrari drivers. I mean, it was going to take a lot for Aston to come back. I mean, let's not forget that team came together a few races into the season when Leandro Ratto, of course, decided to have his little meltdown and leave the championship, unfortunately. But yeah, look, they tried. They're giving it everything. It's not over yet. I'm not going to count them out. A lot can happen. But yeah, it's not looking good for the green cars today.
No, it's not at the moment. It's really not. But Luca Seracini is trying to defend for now. Is he going to be able to hold on to that position as we head on to lap 27 and Chenkovan has the DRS here? He's going to try to chase and, well, he's going to go to the outside line. Seracini defends the inside and Chenkovan will make his way through, but Seracini will keep himself on the inside line. He'll have the outside for turn 3. I've talked about how this is the line they want, and he's going to try to sweep his way wide to make his way back across, but he can't do so. Chenkovan has the lead, and Luca Seracini needs to remain within range.
Yes, he does. Yeah, it's a fantastic fight between the two of them now. It's yeah, either one can take it at the moment. I think we if you're betting on this, you'd be smart to bet on Andrew Chenkovan if we're honest. But Luca Seracini has just got so quick as the season has progressed. I mean, he was pretty quick from the beginning of the season, so you can't rule him out yet. He is on the hard tyres, so it should be holding up a bit better, but they are 5 laps older, so they're probably about similar. But we've seen this before, haven't we? When it came down to Luca Seracini needing to hold on to Andrew Chenkovan, and he just wasn't able to do so. He's there or thereabouts now, but he's got 3 laps to get back ahead. He might wait as late as possible, but I feel like looking at that lap, the delta there, he might have used a lot of battery there to get back into the DRS. Not back in DRS, actually he was in there. Back into the slipstream of Andrew Chenkovan ahead. In fact, his battery looks like it's currently off. Either it's off or he's used so much that he's clipping. And I think it is actually the latter. So, yeah, I don't think his battery management is quite there, unfortunately. And I think that might be his downfall here today. But it's been a great showing nonetheless. But Andrew Chenkovan is just always in a league of his own. Not literally, of course, but yeah, you can never rule this guy out to win this race, can you?
No, you certainly can't. I was going to make well, all week I've been making, or all the last couple of weeks or whatever I've been making almost something championship jokes. So, for example, I said that we should be going to Silverstone and calling it the almost Northampton Championship. I was going to call Andriy Cenkvan, of course, because he is Croatian. I was going to reference a country near there, but I don't know if that would be geopolitically wrong, because I don't know the politics of that area. I know they have been sensitive in the past. So Andriy Cenkvan is going to come on, I think, and be the almost pro championship winner, maybe for both titles once again. What a sensational charge that Ferrari would have had. Of course, he's already a 4-time Drivers' World Champion. He'd like to pick up the Constructors as well onto the final lap. He's broken DRS on Luca Seracini, so I think he's going to be able to remain ahead throughout the course of the rest of this race. So the Croat is going to go on to pick up another win here at Qatar, and it was almost it was almost Qatar champion for Luca Seracini.
You finally got it in. I'm very impressed by that one. So good stuff all around. Shown on the replay camera, 73% front left Ollie Matthews. So not ideal for him, but yeah, as you say, almost. He's obviously won a championship here before. I believe it was 2 seasons ago, in season number 8, that he won the championship at Qatar. But yeah, Luca Seracini almost a winner, an APC winner, but he's not quite there. And in Building, done a great job to hold on to that 3rd position, but of course with Owen, why have I got those two confused so much today? Ollie Matthews having no penalties, being the only driver to do so. I probably should have held off saying that until the end of the lap, but the only driver. Oh, I thought it was it. I thought that was it. It wasn't. It was Paul Garung. Only driver to pick up a penalty. He will pick up that 3rd position, and actually, it is only going to be 3rd position for Ollie Matthews. So, great showing all round. It's been a fantastic race, but Andriy Cenkvan will very shortly be leading us across the line.
He certainly will. Around the final couple of corners, Andriy Cenkvan will come, and he has had a sensational race today from last to first once again, I think, and he will head to the line. And what a well-earned victory that one was. From last to first, Cenkvan will take the victory. Luca Seracini so close, but no cigar in second, and Ellen will finally pick up a good result. 3rd place for herself, but Ollie Matthews picks up the podium after a 3-second time penalty is applied to the Williams' name. Ethan Shackleton comes home 5th, and Dan Riley in 6th, and then everybody with the penalties follows through. I think it'll be Welly, then Boldero, then it's going to be Garung, Stuart Woodard, and Moore and Harding to round out the field. Regan Harding really struggled today. Brian Moore the same, unfortunately, for those 2 drivers. But it was so close, but unfortunately, Luca Seracini just about came up short.
Boy, really deserves it, doesn't he? He fights so hard, and he really deserves to have a go at lifting the winner's trophy. But today's not going to be the day, unfortunately. He almost there. And I tell you what, I'm just looking at the time, isn't it? It was 3-second penalty. What was the gap in the end? Apologies. I am kind of multitasking because I realised there's a graphic I didn't make. The time in the end was 2-second gap. So is that after the penalties applied? Yeah, 3-second penalty. Yeah, so no, because he had a 3-second penalty. That was it. So if he didn't have his own penalty, he'd have won that. Andrew may have pushed harder, potentially, and got a bigger gap, but looking at those results currently there, if Luca Seracini hadn't picked up that penalty, he'd have finally won an APC race, and I'm sure he'd have been very elated, but he's going to be a bit deflated by that, and hopefully he joins us for an interview very shortly, so we can ask him more about it.
Would be lovely, wouldn't it? Now I'm going to run you through the final results, and then we're going to have our first interviewee, who's already in the room and already has a very specific tag on that will become very clear very soon. But just to confirm the order, then it'll be Cenkvan leading the way and grabbing all of the titles. His fastest lap was 4/10 quicker than anybody else, which of course second place, or actually it was only a 10th or under a 10th quicker than Regan Harding, who went for hot laps. Paul Garung not too far off, 3/10 off the back, and then the next fastest lap is over a second behind, or just under even a second behind, the difference between Owen Boldero and Luke and Andriy Cenkvan at the top. Sensational stuff. But it's Cenkvan, then Seracini, then Matthews in 3rd. Belink comes home in 4th, 5th for Shackleton, 6th for Riley, 7th for Welly, 8th for Boldero, 9th for Paul Garung, and then rounding out the top 10 is going to be Connor Stewart Woodard. 11th for Brian Moore, 12th for Regan Harding, and Ollie Corlett, unfortunately, our only DNF. We're going to get a chance to speak to our brand new Constructors Champion first up. Ethan, Constructors Champion once again. How does that feel?
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that feels great. Although I can't take credit for it too much this season.
Yeah, of course, it hasn't been the easiest of seasons, I would say, for yourself, unfortunately. But, I mean, you've had to work with your teammate quite a significant chunk throughout the course to keep yourself ahead. I mean, just how has it been trying to keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, motivation hasn't been an issue in terms of my gap to my teammate, because he typically has a big gap to everyone anyway. But it's been hard to be motivated. I would say with my lack of pace compared to previous seasons, that's been a bit demoralizing.
F1 26 coming up. Are you going to? Well, I'm sure you're going to hope to find that pace that you've had before. But do you think that's a possibility?
I think so. I think it'll be a fresh start for everyone, so that should help me out.
Yeah, hopefully so. Well, we will see how it goes, and good luck to you. That's going to be all from me. Carl, have you got anything for Ethan, who is our new Constructors Champion, before we go?
He is a new Constructors Champion, so, I mean, this is... Obviously, I mean, you've been breaking records anyway, but you continue to break records in APC, because that is, I believe, off the top of my head, that's 5th consecutive for Ferrari. And that's actually, I think it's the 6th time that you have actually been on a team that has won the Constructors Champion. So you're clearly good luck when it comes to the team's champions. So good stuff. And thank you for joining us, because we haven't spoken to you very much this season, which has been a bit of a shame, because we like talking to you. But I guess my only question is, like, what's happened? What's gone wrong with your own drivers' championship? Of course, because you've obviously won a championship, and then I think you've been runner-up ever since. Which I'm sure you're not completely celebrating, because you've obviously got the pace to win the championship. But yeah, we've seen a lot more struggles this season.
It's typically I don't have the time for this game anymore. I would usually like play it just for fun by myself, playing career mode or something over the weekends, or like different days of the week. Whereas I've literally just been going on and doing the league race with like 15 minutes practice. I've been busy lately, basically. Yeah.
That's fair. Well, hopefully we'll see a lot more of you next season, and a lot more of you on the podium, and hopefully some wins. So thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing what you're going to do in the final race in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you, Carl. Nice to speak to you both as well once. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us, Ethan, here today in the box. And just before you go, I would quite like, if it's going to load, which I don't know if it will, I would just like to show to you what we have wonderfully crafted. I say what Kyle has wonderfully crafted. I was hoping that we'd be able to get Andrea in as well for this one, but unfortunately he doesn't seem to join us for an interview very often. I think maybe it's me, because of course he didn't join too often last season, although I think he did at one point join, so maybe it might be Kyle. I'm trying to kill time whilst this downloads in the meantime, but just before you go, I would like to throw up right in front of your eyes what we have crafted for you. So if you have a look at the Discord now, it's not going to work. Hang on. I am putting it in, I promise. There we go.
Barry, I was meant to make this and send it to him prior to this race, and I didn't. And I've literally been like making it since, as I've realised you guys were going to take the team's championships. I was like, I better quickly make it and send it over. So the non-slickness is my fault, not Joseph's fault, just to make sure it's out there. But yeah, congratulations. I think it's been a great show, and it's the first time you've obviously seen this with the new moving background. So what do you think?
I love it.
A bit more special.
I love the moving background, and it's red as well, which I'm not sure if that's for APC or for Ferrari or both, but I love it. I think it looks amazing, Kyle, and the logo kind of blends with the black and red background of the Ferrari logo. I'm talking blends really well.
It does indeed, but
yes, mate.
No, I really appreciate that, and we really appreciate you being here. Of course, I don't know if you know this, but you are, I think, the third longest standing out other than myself and my brother. So We really appreciate you sticking with the league so long, and I hope you don't mind me saying, I know you've signed up for next season, so I look forward to seeing you then as well, and hopefully we'll see a lot more of you in the future.
Thank you very much, and thank you for like hosting the league and stuff. It's really appreciated, all the work you do.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Ethan.
Thank you.
We're making it sound like it's the last race of the season.
Anyway. I was thinking that.
There we are.
For jumping in, and we'll see you next week and next season as well. But that was Ethan Shackleton coming in to join us as our new Constructors Champion. Next up, we're going to go in the more regular order of from the back to the front. And next up, we're not going to get an interview from Regan Harding today, but we are going to get the chance to speak to Brian Moore. And Brian, didn't look like the most easy race for yourself.
Oh, certainly not. Still recovering from missing last week's race, and it was a very uncomfortable race, but I was just praying that I'd get points possibly.
Yeah, Qatar, not always the easiest circuit. What was the particular sticking point for you today?
I don't really know. I think just trying not... I was trying to focus more on not getting penalties in the race. Then I just lost too much time. Then, yeah, just trying not to get penalties ended up costing me too much.
Yeah, that's fair enough. It's a tricky one. And do you think there was... going on to next week even, do you think that you're going to fare better at the final round of the season, which, as we all know, is at Abu Dhabi as always?
Most likely, no. Yeah, probably not. I mean, I still want to see if I can possibly beat Connor in the championship, so I think it's 5 points between us now, so I've just got to pray I can do something next week, something magical. Maybe change that statistic of me not being a race winner. That's not going to happen, but you never know. You got to have belief in yourself for these things to happen, so you never know.
And what about next season? You're going to be making the switch to wheel, of course, as I mentioned earlier on in the broadcast. Hopefully, at least, if I decide to ever send it, and if you decide to use it for next season, what are the hopes for that?
I feel like I'm going to be much more comfortable on there because obviously the problem which I specifically have a lot of the times with controller is I have ridiculously big hands for my controllers, so I'm constantly having to cram my hands in. So hopefully on wheel it'll be more comfortable to drive. Obviously, if you remember to send it, but if I have it, I will definitely be using it for next season. Hopefully, I can challenge for some podiums, maybe.
Hopefully so. That'd be great to see you up there. That's all from me. Carl, have you got anything before we let Brian go?
His hands are too big for his controller. I love that. That's some insight into the life of a league racer. But it was good showing. I mean, I think your teammate is absolutely struggling this season. He's not here for me to say that to his face, so I will say it to you. But as you say, you want to fight into the next race. Annoyingly, I don't have the updated standings because Home Baldera has not yet updated them, so I can't tell you what they currently look like. But how's that going to kind of look when it comes to teamwork? I think you guys have been great team. I think alongside sort of RB and the Astons, you show great team camaraderie. What is that? Is it going to be next week? You know what? We don't care. We're just going to go all out, just see who ends up in front and just have a bit of fun, or are you going to work together first and then fight second? I mean, I don't think you're fighting anyone in the teams anymore, but yes, it's probably just between the two of you now.
Interesting enough, tonight was the first race which we've both done this season where we haven't actually communicated with each other. I was feeling very rough for the race, and I didn't want to hop in the team call with them. But next week, stick to how we usually start the race. Working together, and if it gets to the point where one of us feels like we're faster but we're still together, I think it will just be all out and see what we can do against each other for the final round.
Wow, that sounds very exciting. So we're looking forward to seeing a bit of that. So thanks for joining us. As always, Brian, and I hope to see you for the finale next week where you're going to battle your teammate and it's going to be explosive.
hopefully. Thank you.
Well, hopefully not quite literally explosive, but that's going to be Brian coughing his way onto Forza 5 as he heads to the end of this race. Of course, ended up further down the order, unfortunately. We are going to get the chance to speak to Regan Harding today. And, well, Regan, it wasn't the best of races, I would say, from your perspective. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, first of all, apologies for the mic. It was dreadful. Qatar is one of my strongest tracks. I was planning on going for a 2-stop, so what I had done is I had saved. I left about 3 tenths out on track out in qualifying, and I said, look, I'll save the set of softs just if I need them towards the end of the race if the safety car comes out. So I kind of let myself down a bit there. Then at the beginning of the race, like third or fourth corner, Stad went extremely offline. I think he was avoiding someone, but I kind of ran into the back of him because I was expecting him to brake and not move over onto my line, and he did. It's not his fault. I got front wing damage, but at that stage the plan was to go for a 2-stop. So the plan was to stop lap 9, go hards to lap 20, and then go back to mediums again. So I stayed there for 2 laps, and I was like, maybe I can make this work to lap 9, and I was just losing chunks of time, like unbelievable amounts of time. And then when I pitted, I had increased my downforce, but I didn't change my front wing because Brendan Lee had said that if you increase your downforce, you don't have to change the front wing. So I didn't do that, but I was struggling so much, so I came in to change it again. And I just kind of thought, obviously I missed out last week, and I was so looking forward to racing again because I missed out last week. Last week, unfortunately, I was literally about to hop on, and then 10 minutes prior, something came up, so I couldn't. So I was really annoyed. So I was happy enough to, obviously not happy to score points or happy where I was, but I was happy enough to continue on and hope for a safety car. And if I didn't get a safety car, maybe get fastest lap. I tried to go for fastest lap towards the end there, but I was a 10th off of it, so that was pretty annoying. But sure, look, I know Kick, our rivals, they got I think the one was P9 and Jedi I think was P11, so the points weren't, we didn't lose out on too much points, I suppose, but still disappointing. I probably should have pitted the second I got damaged, but I held out hope because I kind of knew it was a death sentence either way. So yeah, it was a big track like that, lots of runoff, the chance of a safety car slim to none. So I kind of realized once I got the damage, my race was done. But I didn't want to just get damaged and retire in the first 5 laps. I wanted to have fun with it and see if something would arise from it, and it did. But look, at least I stayed on. I didn't just retire in the first 5 minutes. I was like, I can't be bothered.
Oh, I've had plenty of rants throughout the course of my league racing commentary career about people retiring early. So full respect, and I just wonder what happened to you in qualifying. So yeah, that was a Boldero style response. So that's all from me. Carl, have you got anything?
I was thinking that. We're getting the full Boldero treatment here. But yes, I think, just to clarify, I think your battle was actually with Mercedes, not with Kick. I think Kick Sauer miles behind you. So yeah, they're not really going to be anywhere in the fight with you. I think they physically can't. They actually got half your points, so I think they can't actually fight you. So yeah, your battle is with Mercedes, who I'll be honest, I can't actually remember who did what with the results there. So one race left to go. You potentially, and I don't know if you're aware of this yet, you're supposed to have a new teammate for the final race because your current teammate has become a reserve. So, I mean, I don't know what that looks like for you in your battle. I mean, you will finish in front of your previous teammate now. You'll be pleased to know because no, you won't. Wait, hold on. No, you still need to do it. Sorry, what your result today got you closer, but you need to score a couple more points in the next race to finish ahead of him, assuming he doesn't come back in his reserve role. But yeah, I mean, what's the plan now? I mean, it's difficult for you because you're with a new teammate, assuming they obviously turn up, and yeah, there's a lot going on for you there. What's going through your mind as you go into the final race and when it comes to the championships?
Definitely disappointment. I was hoping to be higher up towards the end of the, when I first started joining APC, I thought I'd be further up the order than I am. Look, I didn't think it was going to be P1 or P2, but I thought it'd be further up. Lots of I've unfortunately missed a few weeks, or I've got into issues or stuff. I've had technical difficulties like multiple times. Jeddah, my favorite track, obviously had an issue with that, had to retire. So it's annoying. Like, most of it is my fault, but some of it isn't. But that's how it goes. Sometimes you're just a passenger in your own car. So I would say the benchmark was much higher, and I haven't reached that. However, it does mean that come next season, it's probably going to be very difficult to finish any lower than I will finish this season. So we can only go up. And as I said, hopefully I'll be more consistent with the attendance and hopefully with the technical issues this time around. I love Abu Dhabi. I don't know if Abu Dhabi loves me, but I love Abu Dhabi, and I'm looking forward to finishing it off there and hopefully finishing ahead of my teammates. If he doesn't show up, if he does, hopefully he isn't too quick around Abu Dhabi. But we'll see. They're definitely not to take into the season break, and I'll come back stronger. I'm trying to learn medium traction control. I'm on full at the moment, and I'm trying to do manual gears that aren't suggested, just normal manual gears. So I'm trying to practice on that a bit, and hopefully I will perfect that a little bit better come the start of next season, and then hopefully be quicker or more consistent.
Yeah, if Luca can do it, you can do it. So, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing a bit more of that. But before that, we're looking forward to seeing what you can do in the final race. So, hopefully, we'll see you then. But until then, enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, gentlemen. See you then.
Thank you very much to Regan. And I'm going to take that as a segue. I mean, you mentioned Luca. We'll talk to Luca now. Luca, I mean, so close, but yet so far. What were your thoughts?
I wanted to make up for Vegas because that was just not great. Quali, I validated both my first runs, and then on my actual run, I just made a really big mistake. I don't actually know which turn it is, like turn 2 or turn 3. I was doing practice, and I would have, if I did a bank lap, that would have been good enough for pole and some more practice, but it wasn't the end of the world. And then I had a good start. I got the lead, and I thought this going to be just another redo of Vegas. But I actually managed to stay ahead a lot longer, and I felt like I was a bit stronger. And then me and Bert decided that he would hit a lap before me, and then I pit after him, and would try come out again 1-2, which ended up working. So we were 1-2 for a while. And then Chenky came out the pits again, and he was like 8th or something. So we thought we're 1-2, Chenky's down in 8th. Even if he's on fresh mediums, overtaking like 6-ish cars is not going to be easy for him. But and then Bert got a time pen because he ended up going off, and we were trying to pull away from Ollie, but he was too quick to be pulled away from, honestly. And then I ended up getting a time pen. I can't honestly remember my second warning, but it didn't really matter. And then Bert and Ollie had contact, which I thought was going to help me, but then Chenky was ridiculously indecent, and he was putting like 2 seconds a lap on me. So I don't think I was. Well, I would have won without the time pen, but yeah.
Everyone's giving us some great descriptions of their races today, Carl. It's really good. But unfortunately, it runs through all of my questions. So that's going to be all from me. Once again, I know I'm not asking many, but I'm getting a lot back, which is really, really good to hear. But that is going to be all from me. Carl, have you got anything before we let him go?
Yes, and I'm going to ask Ollie the same question when he comes in. So, two things I think really kind of obviously ruined your chances there. And by the way, I was really rooting for you, so I felt the pain with you. But I mean, what I meant to say was I'm completely impartial. But obviously the penalty, that caused you to lose a win at the end there, which is unfortunate. But at the very start, and I said this in commentary, and look, as I say, I'm not in the car, I'm not with you guys. Like I'm not a league racing expert, but it seemed like to me that you're fighting, and it was from what I saw, it was Ollie fighting you as opposed to you fighting Ollie. You obviously went to take the position, and Ollie fought it like really hard, even though it felt like that was too early to be fighting. It felt like if you guys didn't fight, the three of you could have actually pulled a much bigger gap on the pack behind. But unfortunately, the fighting meant that they all then closed back up and got into the DRS train. And once Andrew Jenkovan was in that DRS train, it was almost impossible to drop him. Yeah, do you agree? Do you feel like that fighting perhaps was the reason that you guys weren't able to pull away and allowed Andrew to come back, or do you think it would not have made much of a difference?
I'm gonna say it wouldn't have made a difference because me and Ollie, the reason we were fighting so hard to get back past each other is because clean air at Qatar is so much nicer than any other tracks. Like I was lifting through like all the corners, and Ollie still wasn't putting much time on me through all the corners. But then obviously on the straights, he was coming back at me. But I was saving like 2 or 3% tyre wear a lap, and then by the end of the stint, even though I managed to stay high with Ollie the whole time, I think my tyres were like 14% better wear or something like that. So that's why we were fighting so hard, because we wanted to have the clean air so that we could preserve the tyres and maybe pit a lap later than the other, or whatever. But that's why.
For like a DRS swap, lap on lap would have.
Yeah, I mean,
worked for you guys.
yeah, I mean, I don't know, because I wouldn't have fought Ollie too hard initially, and then once I saw Chenky was in the train anyway, I thought, well, there's no point not fighting this now.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I appreciate the clarity there, and yeah, I appreciate. I honestly, I don't know what more you need to do to get this win, but look, keep at it because you are so almost there. And I think, without Andrew Chenkovan being as quick as he is, there'll be a bad day again where he crashes at some point. I'm sure. Then you yourself and Ollie, and then I'm sure you guys and Owen can battle it out, for a potential win, and you'll have a really good chance there. But once again, unfortunately, it's a little bit too quick. But thanks for joining us, and thanks for your honest responses. And we look forward to hopefully speaking to you after the finale next week.
Thank you both.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And well, I reckon, will it be a good idea to bring both the Aston Martins in?
I think it'd be a pretty good idea. Yeah, why not?
We'll drag them both in. We'll interrupt their conversation to have one of our own because of course, the selfish nature of what we are. But well done to both of you today. It seemed like a particularly tricky race out there for quite a few different drivers. And, well, I'd say we're going to start with the one, of course, who finished lower down. Owen, talk me through your race.
Not much really happened in my race, to be honest. I knew I was going to be nowhere here. Tyre wear is horrendous. I hate the track as well to drive. So I knew I probably wasn't going to be anywhere. And then we went into the race and my tyre wear was just horrendous. And I was like, yeah, I've got to two-stop this, which I knew pretty much no one else would have to. I think Paul was the only other person who two-stopped it around me. And then I did a bit of defending in the mid part of the stint to try and pull Ollie a bit of a gap to like Ellen, Chenky, that whole lot. And then, yeah, from there I went into the pits, and then nothing else much happened really, to be completely honest with you. It was pretty uneventful for me, and I kind of knew that this result was coming because controller versus wheel here is quite a big difference, unfortunately. So it's just one of them things.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those things, I think, unfortunately. Ollie, yours was a little different. Talk me through that.
Honestly, qualifying might have been the best part of that race for me. One of a top tier lap that kind of came out of nowhere, and a decent start that kind of put me into the fight, which I wasn't particularly expecting. And I managed to stay in the fight. I think I had quite a bit worse tyres than everyone around me, which was unfortunate. I had 80% at the end of both stints, which isn't ideal nor planned for. I thought I was going to be a little better, so I had to do quite some serious saving in the start of that hard stint to make sure that I could get those tyres to the end. And the pace was kind of there at points until me and Bert had our just had an incident that we've looked over and think was just the game being laggy between our PCs, because he lives all the way across the world from the servers, and it kind of compromised what I would like to say could have been a win for me, because I think I would have been able to keep Chenky back and stay in the 3-second window of Luca, and having no penalties would have really kind of helped me there. But we got to move on and hope me and Bert don't have another collision for the third race in a row.
Let's hope so. On that front, and of course that does mean that unfortunately you two are out of the Constructors' Championship. But of course, you've worked well throughout the course of this season. Is there, and I don't mind, I'm going to throw this one open to the room, and I'm seeing that Owen's on mute, so maybe Ollie, you could go through this one first. Would you like to continue with yourself with each other next year?
Well, we haven't particularly had this conversation yet. I will be I have talked to Kyle a little bit about it because I will be missing the initial part of the season, so we'll stick her as a reserve. And if Owen's full time and therefore has to have a teammate, then maybe that's kind of not what's going to work.
I know the answer to this. I'm not gonna ruin it for anyone, but I answer to this.
But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. I think we just take season by season. We've worked really well this season, and if we were teammates in the future in a different season, then I would not be disappointed.
Owen?
Yeah, I mean, I'd spoken to Ollie about next season. He said he wasn't planning on racing. So as things stand, I will still be full time next year, or next season rather. Obviously, we'll be in the F1 26 game. But I mean, like Ollie said, if in a future season we could be teammate, I'd be totally up for it because we've worked really well together, and I think probably as a team we have worked the best this season. I'd say I think we've done well to keep the constructors alive as long as we did. You know, up against Schenkervan and Shackleton. I think we did well this season, but you know, when you're fighting someone who is always going to be winning the race, and you and your teammate are sort of P2 to sort of P5 all the time, or most of the time, sometimes it can be a little difficult to outscore that, and then you factor in the teammate. So we did well to keep it alive as long as we did, and hopefully in a future season we can actually win it if we are teammates again.
Yeah, fair enough. And well, it would be good to see you both back together again, although of course not, unfortunately not going to be a possibility. But I mean, next week, same again, same teamwork as you've had across the course of the season. Of course, not quite the same again as this week, but what's the aims for Abu Dhabi?
I personally think, obviously not speaking from, I think I've got P2 secured as well. So the aim is to get Owen securing a P3, as Luke has gained 14 points this race, so he's now 14 points back. So as long as we don't have a repeat of that, then we've just got to make sure that we secure P2 and 3 in the drivers, I think. And then we would say that's kind of a job well done. So as Owen said, going up in the constructors against Schenke and Shackleton, it's a big ask, and keeping it alive for as long as we did, pretty good going into the penultimate round. And yeah, we'll just have a good time.
Yeah, and I'd agree. I think now there was no chance that I was going to get Ollie back from about round 8 or so from Monza. I don't think I could consistently outscore him enough to do that. So I think we were always sort of eyes locked on the constructors, trying to keep it alive for as long as we could. So I think next week my aim is obviously to beat Luca, keep that P3, and yeah, I mean, get as many points as we can as a team, and just finish it off on a high note for the season, because overall it's been a good season for us. So
yeah, definitely so. It certainly has. And second place, not too bad after all of that. That's all from me. Carl, have you got anything before we let these two go?
Yeah, I don't have the updated standings just yet. I'm just waiting for the update to come through. But I believe, if I worked it out correctly, that P3 in the championship, the drivers' championship, will go down to Owen Baldero versus Lucas Serafini in the finale. I guess Owen, how hard are you going to fight for that one? And Ollie, are you going to be doing everything you can to help your teammate take that third position?
yeah, well, I'm obviously P3 is the aim. Lucas sort of stepped on the gas a little bit in terms of pace in the last few races, and it feels like even though I've picked up a couple of P4s, P5s, and then a podium, it feels like my pace has sort of regressed a little bit. I don't know. I think we've hit some tracks where I've not been as strong, and where tracks that Luca has been obviously stronger at. But Yeah, I think as long as I'm somewhere in the top 5, it should be okay. So top 5 is always my aim. So I'll just go into next week with the same mindset of getting in the top 5 somewhere.
Oh, fun fact, actually, looking back at last season, the top 5 from Qatar in season 9 was exactly the same top 5 in Abu Dhabi. So in season 9. So those two races had the exact same top 5,
Right.
which is absolutely wild. And that was Andrew Chenkovan win. That's Dan Riley in second, Ethan Shackleton in fourth, Ollie Matthews in fifth, and then Lucas Cerasini in fifth. And of course, Owen Baldero was not driving that season. So if that's anything to go by, then might not quite happen potentially with Lucas Cerasini being so high up. But we'll see if history repeats itself, I'm sure. But yeah, well, thanks for joining us as always, guys. It's been absolutely lovely speaking to the both of you at the same time. So thanks very much. And as always, hopefully we'll get to speak to you both again next week for after the finale.
Yeah, see you guys next week.
Yes, see you two next time out. And well, that will be it from ourselves. But just a reminder that the final race of the season next week is going to be at Abu Dhabi. Carl, any final thoughts before we round it off?
I mean, that was probably my favourite race of the season so far. What a battle it was from the top all the way down to the bottom. That was so much fun to watch the entire way through. And I'm looking forward to seeing them do it all again next week, hopefully with a new driver. Although it's a bit of an odd time to join the league at the last race, but these things happen, and it'd be good to see if they can throw themselves into the mix. Ellen hopefully will be back again. She has tended to race all the seasons despite being a reserve. And hopefully maybe one of the other reserves may well jump in too. But of course, next week will be the final of season 10. And what a fantastic season it's been. There's a few more little battles to tie up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what people are going to do across those. Of course, we will give you more information on those as we go through the next race. But yeah, no, I think it was just a fantastic one. It was almost there for Luca. Wasn't quite there. But hopefully he'll be able to pull something out next week.
Hopefully so. Well, we'll see. From ourselves at APC, from myself, Joseph Black, and from the person alongside me, Kyle SW. That'll be it. Until next time, it is goodbye.
Underway.
Stance's authority once again.
My word, this could go wrong. On the brakes, goodness me, what a launch.
Look at that.
It just all comes down to this